Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on today's webinar. It is now 12:02, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I have Michael and Neiman, Rainbow International Marketing Specialist, and Karen Williams, Marketing Specialist for Mr. Electric, and they are here helping out today, here to answer questions, and we're going to go ahead and get started, as we always do with every Dwyer Group meeting, with our code of values. I'm going to go ahead and start it off. We live our code of values by treating others as we would like to be treated.
We live our code of values by listening with the intent to understand what is being said and acknowledging that what is said is important to the speaker.
We live our code of values by responding in a timely fashion.
We live our code of values by speaking calmly and respectfully without profanity or sarcasm.
We live our code of values by acknowledging everyone as right from their own perspective.
We live our code of values by making only agreements we are willing, able, and intend to keep.
We live our code of values by communicating any potentially broken agreements at the first appropriate opportunity to all parties concerned.
We live our code of values by looking to the system for correction and proposing all possible solutions if something is not working.
We live our code of values by operating in a responsible manner above the line.
We live our code of values by communicating honestly and with purpose.
We live our code of values by asking clarifying questions if we disagree or do not understand.
We live our code of values by never saying anything about anyone that we would not say to him or her.
We live our code of values by continuously striving to maximize internal and external customer loyalty.
We live our code of values by making our best effort to understand and appreciate the customer's needs in every situation.
And we live our code of values by having fun in the process. All right, guys, thank you so much for your patience. So on today's agenda, what we are going to be talking about is digital marketing. I'm gonna do a couple of housekeeping things real quick. Just so y'all know, I do sound a little bit abnormal today. I have a bit of a cold, so please bear with me. We're working through this and, always here to try and serve you guys the best that we absolutely can. So I know I sound a little goofy, but I appreciate your patience with the tone of my voice. Secondly, as always, please feel free to utilize the question function that is on your GoToWebinar control panel. We love to have interaction from you and love to hear what's on your mind. We will be doing a few polls throughout, and so we are looking for feedback from you guys, and would strongly encourage you to have any participation that you absolutely can. If you have any questions, again, please feel free to ask them. That is absolutely not a problem at all. We want to hear from you. Now, there's a couple of different ways, like I said, that you can do it. You can actually do it by using the raising your hand function in the GoToWebinar control panel. You can also type in your question, like I previously mentioned. And then lastly, if you would like, you can unmute yourself and you can ask a question verbally. So we are looking forward to hearing your feedback. So for today's webinar, guys, what we're going to be covering is we are going to be covering, like I said, digital marketing. The digital marketing that we're going to mostly be focusing on is going to be in regards to search engine management, which we'll get into in just a few minutes, which is primarily going to be your pay-per-click and SEO options. Now, I do want to go ahead and preface that digital marketing is actually a pretty wide array of opportunities for you. So do understand that when you hear the term digital marketing, it encompasses a lot of different facets. Like I said, it really is referring to anything that makes use of electronics devices. This goes anywhere from your computers to your smartphones to cell phones to tablets to game consoles. Any way that you will market to engage with potential customers or your stakeholders. And it goes across not only just websites and search engines, but also emails, mobile apps, and even social media. Again, though, for today's purpose, what we're going to primarily be focusing on is your internet-based marketing, also known as search engine management, and we're going to be focusing on pay-per-click and SEO, which is search engine optimization. We'll also touch very briefly on social media and then also discuss, again, very briefly, the new Rainbow website. So let's go ahead and let's dive right into what we're going to be looking at. Actually, first, what I want to do is I want to ask you guys, what type of digital marketing do you use? I would love to hear some feedback from you guys. There we go. The poll was a little bit slow. And so what I want to see is I want to see what type of social media, or I'm sorry, what type of digital marketing you guys typically use so that we kind of understand. And it does look like that the majority of y'all use social media. And so I'm going to give just a couple more seconds and we'll go ahead and answer that. The main reason why I'm asking this, guys, is I'm really just kind of wanting to understand where everybody is in this and what we're really kind of looking at when we are talking to you guys. Okay, just a couple more seconds and I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. Okay. Perfect. And just so you are aware, you can go ahead and actually see the results that you're looking at right now. And this comes as no surprise to me, but this just kind of verifies what we see when working with you guys. It does look like the majority of you use social media, so good for you on that, 85%. I have 10% who utilize pay-per-click, 25% who use SEO, 5% who use other, and I would love to hear the feedback of what you consider to fall in the other category, and then 5% of you who don't do any digital marketing. And we understand that. Traditionally, Rainbow has not been a very digital marketing heavy brand. I do think that this is going to be something that you're going to see change as we move a little bit further on. But like I said, this is something that's going to be changing over the next few months and over the next year or so. But the results that you guys posted don't surprise me whatsoever. So let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit about search engine marketing. And I just want you guys to understand that when we're talking about search engine marketing, both pay-per-click and search engine optimization are facets of search engine marketing. And so through this, you can, this is when we're talking about directories, lead generators, map listings, display ads, all that kind of a thing on all different platforms. So if you ever do hear the term search engine marketing, this is really what we're talking about. Again, primarily we're going to be focusing on SEO and pay-per-click today. Let's go ahead and let's talk about some of the benefits of digital marketing, okay? There's a few different things that we want you guys to understand and want you to focus on. Everybody has different concepts of what's going to work and what's not going to work, and you're not going to know what's going to work for you and your company until you actually try it. So please keep that in mind as we're moving forward, and please keep in mind that it's very beneficial to you to keep an open mind. One of the biggest things that digital marketing can do for you is it can actually help you level the playing field. What I mean by this is that, yes, you do have to spend money. You do have to spend dollars to really enhance your presence in the digital marketing realm. However, with the right tools in place and with the right team in place, any business can compete with any other competitor, regardless of the size, as long as you have a solid digital marketing strategy. And this is what I want you all to understand. And that this is one of the biggest benefits, is that because of digital marketing, this has allowed small businesses to now be able to compete with the big dogs. Is it always easy? No, but the opportunity is out there. And that's what we want you guys to understand. Another benefit of digital marketing is going to be the fact that for the most part, results of digital marketing are very simple to measure, okay? What we mean by this is that unlike traditional methods, you can actually see in real time what is going to work for your business, and you can actually quickly adapt to improve your results. So, for example, if you are seeing that you are not getting any solid hits on a pay-per-click campaign, by working with your vendor, you can go in and make adaptations as needed. This is something that is very beneficial to you, and this is something that you will find to be very useful as time goes on. And this is one of the things that people like the most about digital marketing is the flexibility, because it's not your traditional print campaigns. It's not your traditional print pieces that once you have made a decision, you're committed to it. It is fluid, and it is flexible, and it is simple to measure. Another thing that you can get with digital marketing are going to be real-time results. You don't have to wait weeks for a boost in your business. Now, in order to see a solid return on investment, you are going to have to wait anywhere from about 3 to 6 months of digital marketing. However, there is the opportunity for immediate gratification. It's not necessarily going to happen in every circumstance, so please keep that in mind, but it is something that you can get real-time results in. As I was saying earlier with the simple to measure, you can refine your strategy as necessary. And really, anything that you can capture about your customer's journey can be reported, and you can hone it in for a greater success that is truly at the fraction of the cost of traditional marketing. Another benefit of digital marketing is that there is a much higher opportunity for greater exposure. And what we mean by this is that if done correctly, your business can actually be seen anywhere in the world from one marketing campaign versus a traditional method and a traditional marketing. And the cost of it is going to be much, much more beneficial to your marketing budget than a traditional marketing campaign. So again, everything has to be done in a concerted effort. Everything has to be done in a knowledgeable fashion. However, the opportunities for exposure are much better. Another thing that you're going to see is you're going to see the opportunity for viral exposure to be greatly increased. What we mean by that is this is typically going to be something that is done on the social media platforms. Just think about how easy it is for you to share something with your friends, right? It's very easy to just hit a share button. Well, that's a form of marketing if you do it from a business perspective. And so going viral isn't necessarily as hard as some might think it is. Now, it's not going to work in every campaign. It's not going to be something that you're going to want to bombard people with. But again, the opportunity for going viral and to getting your reach out to a much larger audience than you would normally be able to do is much easier in the digital realm. Last but not least, this is typically considered a non-intrusive way of marketing. And I know that most people hate receiving sale mail shots or phone calls and at inconvenient times, but online people get the choices to opt in or opt out of communications. And often this is really relevant because they were the ones that were searching for the service or product in the first place. So this is just something that allows you to be much more targeted and really talk to people who are interested in what you're trying to do. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's talk about some of the different types of marketing, digital marketing. The first one that we're going to talk about is going to be pay-per-click campaigns. For those of you who may not be 100% certain what a pay-per-click campaign is, when a company has placed an advertisement on a website, they will pay a sum of money to the host, so Google or Bing or Yahoo or anything of that nature. And then when the user clicks on that advertisement, they will then pay that host site. All right. Now, real quick, what I would like to show you guys is I would like to share a 3-minute video that we have created regarding pay-per-click. I want you to be aware of this URL that is here at the bottom of the page, this tdg-ppcvideo.com, or PPC video. And the reason why I'm telling you this URL is if for some reason, sometimes the technical aspect of webinars can be a little bit challenging. So if it doesn't come through effectively or you do have any issues with it, just please feel free to, write down this URL so you can view it at another time. But we're going to go ahead and give this a shot, see if we can actually view this video, guys.
So what exactly is pay-per-click advertising? What is the right way to set up and run a successful campaign? Pay-per-click, or PPC, is a search engine advertising model used to direct visitors to your website. You, the advertiser, will pay every time your ad is clicked by users wanting to visit your website. You bid money to advertise on search engine results pages for keywords relevant to the goods or services you offer. Ad placement depends on how much you bid and a host of other factors. The purpose of PPC is to drive potential customers to your website so they will call you and become your customer. What makes a successful, properly optimized PPC campaign? Bids are placed on keywords relative to your target market. The amount that is bid is dependent on factors like popularity of a keyword, the amount of visitors to the search engine, and the amount you are willing to spend on your campaign. Properly choose relevant keywords based on your market so your campaign goes in the right direction. Make sure your ad copy has a clear and direct call to action and is properly directed at your target customer. Use campaign tools like A/B testing and modify your ad copy to help generate better results. Use bid management tools to monitor your bids and activity. Help improve your campaign so it will deliver the best cost per contact. Quality and relevant content will give your customer a smooth transition from your ad to your landing page and will play a key role in how your ad is positioned in search results. Make sure you have a clear call to action on your landing page, making it easy for your customer to take the next step and call. Measuring your results is one of the most important steps in the process. Know your cost per call and your return on investment. One call closed to a customer job can more than pay for a whole campaign. Now you know what pay-per-click marketing is and the process behind running a successful campaign. Hire a reputable and professional company so you don't take a wrong turn.
What? Sorry, guys. Okay, fantastic. So I hope that maybe answered some of your basic questions about pay-per-click and what pay-per-click actually is. Again, if for some reason that video did not come through well for you, I do have a bit.ly link that is listed here at the bottom of the PowerPoint. And if you email us, we will be happy to send you that video link at any point in time. And again, the goal of that was really just to kind of give you a little bit of information about about what pay-per-click is. So what I would like to do now is I would like to launch another poll, and I would like to ask if you have actually done pay-per-click campaigns in the past, what topics have you focused on? This is what I would like to hear from you guys. I do know that there were some of y'all who have done PPC ad or pay-per-click campaigns. So again, just curious as to what feedback you have gotten from your campaigns. Okay, guys, we'll leave this open for about 15 more seconds. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's close this poll, and I'm going to share the results with you guys. So again, the majority of you all this is not an applicable question, and we understand that. We absolutely get that pay-per-click is not something that has been readily pursued by the majority of rainbows. However, it does look like that we have had about 17% of you who have done pay-per-click campaigns do restoration, and then also next in line looks like it is a tie for mold remediation and cleaning services. And then last but not least, other. And so again, I would love to hear from you guys what those others are, what that actually means. Traditionally, over the last few years, what we have seen to be the most successful have been mold remediation campaigns. Now, I do think that over the next few months, you're going to start seeing a shift in what is recommended and what is going to be the best return on investment as far as these other topics go. And we're going to talk a little bit more in just a few minutes about possible tools that are available to you guys. So we'll go ahead and we're going to be talking about that very, very soon. And then again, we want to hear feedback from you guys. We want to know what's happening. We want to know what your thoughts are.
I just got a not really a question, but a comment from Renee Krukovoski. I hope I said her name right. Her PPC ad she did over dryer vent and HVAC cleaning. If that's something that is working for you really well in your business and bringing in a lot of revenue, then yes, that would be something to use as a topic for PPC. So I just wanted to share that with everyone.
Fantastic. Thank you for the feedback, Renee. We really do appreciate that. Sorry, guys. I was getting the video again. Okay, so here's a couple things to note about pay-per-click. So these are something that I do want you all to understand. Pay-per-click should not be considered a magic wand that's going to make the phone ring. All right, there is a lot of time and a lot of money that does typically go into pay-per-click campaigns. A lot of it depends on the scope of what you want to do. And a lot of it is going to be something that you're going to have to do some playing with and some research on to figure out what's going to work in your area and what's not. Like I said, it is incredibly important to understand that pay-per-click is not a magic fix that will suddenly fix all of your marketing needs. It is a facet of marketing, it is a piece of marketing, and it is a tool that you can use. So be sure that you think about it in that regards and don't think of it as being the be-all end-all for digital marketing. It is an option. And it should be something that you should consider if this is, if you are at the point in your business where your company can expend budget on pay-per-click campaigns. All right. But if it is not, then maybe let's hold off and wait till you are at a place where you can handle it. Another thing that you need to pay attention to is that vendors are mostly concerned about the clicks, not the actual quality of the calls. And so it's a very, very important to understand that your campaigns need to be optimized for call conversion or for calls to actually turn into paying customers and not just about the clicks. And you don't always have to necessarily be in the number one position. So again, keep all that in mind. Understand that this is going to be something that's going to be a bit of an experimental process to see what works for you in your area, because even in the digital realm, every market is different, okay? And competition in a digital realm is going to be much different from one market to the next. Okay, so we have a quick question from Tara Merriman. Tara, you had asked, how do you determine a budget for a pay-per-click campaign? This is something that it can be incredibly tricky. I can't give you an exact number, all right? And this is going to be something that you're going to want to make sure that your business can sustain. You do need to make sure that the budget that you do set forth with the vendor that you utilize can be sustained for a good 3 to 6 months, though. I will put it that way. Typically, what we have seen across brands as being beneficial is honestly you need to spend a minimum of about $500 a month. So typically what we see is anywhere from $500 on up, typically between $500 and $1,500. Now for the scope of Rainbow work and the fact that pay-per-click campaigns are not necessarily as competitive depending upon your territory. There are some that have found some benefit in the $300 realm. Again, it's really going to depend upon what service you're going to actually market, okay? Your geographic region and your territory and the response that you get in the digital realm. This is one of the reasons why it is so important to work with a qualified vendor, because they can help you make that decision so that you can make an educated choice on what type of marketing you want to do and how you need to approach it. Okay, so I'm sorry that that's not a very concise answer. I know that you guys probably want to hear this is exactly what you need to spend for this return on investment, but it varies so much from person to person and region to region that it is tough to make some generalizations. But generally, guys, this is something that I would strongly recommend that you work with your vendors on. But you are going to need to see an investment of about $300 to $1,000 a month. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's continue on about some of the benefits of pay-per-click. One of the things that people like so much about pay-per-click is that it is incredibly popular because it is very traceable to the source of the job. So what I mean by that is you can actually, most of the time, you can trace back where that job came from, and so you know exactly what revenue you got from the investment that you made. And so that's really the most important statistic that pay-per-click can provide you. It can provide you a real return on investment. So you actually know that you're getting your money's worth on expenditures that you make. And if you do it correctly, one big job can actually pay for a whole month's worth campaign, especially if it's done in the restoration realm and you get a high-paying job from pay-per-click, which I know that this is something that's a little bit different and maybe something that you don't necessarily hear as much. I am in no way saying that you shouldn't do any of the traditional marketing that Rainbow exemplifies. In any way am I saying that. However, this is something that is starting to be explored, and we're starting to understand the benefits and the power behind consumer-focused marketing. And pay-per-click is typically a consumer-focused marketing area. And so don't be afraid to explore this to see what else you can do to expand your reach. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and let's talk about search engine optimization. Real quick, the overlying definition of search engine optimization is it's the process of maximizing the number of visitors to a particular website as a goal to make sure that that website appears high on the list of results returned by a search engine. So that's a whole lot of big words for basically saying that you turn up high in Google rankings. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. That's what SEO ultimately means, and that's really what the bulk of it is for. I'm going to go ahead and I want to actually ask another poll real quick, and I want to ask, have you done any type of search engine optimization to your Rainbow site? Okay, guys, just a couple more seconds. Most of you have responded. This actually, I'm going to go ahead. Let's close this poll and I'm going to share these results. This is this is actually a little bit higher than I thought it was going to be. But from what you guys are saying, 19% of you actually have done some SEO work, which is a little bit surprising because I didn't really think that anybody had. So to those of you who have done SEO work, kudos to you. And for those of you who have not, or I'm not really sure if you've done it, it's okay. We're gonna talk in just a few minutes about the new website, about kind of what's to come with the new website, and maybe how you can look at embracing this form of digital marketing in the future as we move forward over the next coming months and moving into 2015. So it's okay that you haven't really done any yet. Don't be upset by this. All right. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to talk just real briefly about pay-per-click versus SEO. A lot of people, oh, hang on. Okay. Okay, guys. Here we go. Let's try this again. We're going to go ahead and we're going to talk real quick about pay-per-click versus SEO. What I want to do here is I want to give you guys just a quick overview, quick idea of what you're actually going to see when you are looking at the different types of digital marketing. All right. So if you are looking here, what you're going to see up here at the top of the screen is you're going to see the actual paid advertisements. So these are what are considered the PPC. Okay, below the pay-per-click is actually a section that is dependent upon Google Places, and this is actually in the Google Map. And really this is more of your Google Plus page because your Google Plus page is hooked into your Google Maps. And then again, over here on the right-hand side is where you're going to see some more details about options for pay-per-click. So the ones that are up here at the top of the page have typically either paid higher or won the auction to get up at the top of the page, and then the ones here on the right hand side are just some additional places for paid advertising. Then if you go ahead and you move down the page a little bit, you're going to see that below the Google Places, below the Google Maps, this is where your SEO actually comes into play. And this is what I was really wanting to try and show you guys. Whenever you hear the term organic search results or organic searches, etc., this is what people are talking about. It's the section below the paid advertisements. So a couple of things that I want you guys to understand. No matter what any SEO vendor tells you, unless you are paying top dollar for the ad to be at the top of the page on a pay-per-click campaign, you're never going to be at the top of Google Places. Or I'm sorry, you're never going to be at the top of the Google page, okay? It isn't going to happen because it is not possible. So you have to pay up here to be at the top of the page, okay? So you have to pay to be at the top of the page. You have to have high-ranking sites to be at the top of your Google Places. And then you also have to do SEO work to be here in the organic results. So everything has some questions, or I'm sorry, everything has its price and everything has its benefits. And so this is what, I just want you guys to kind of understand. SEO and pay-per-click are both very tricky things to understand. And this is why we really encourage you guys to work with preferred vendors so that you can understand what you're working with. Okay. Let's go ahead and I'm going to talk briefly about other forms of digital marketing. We have already, so like I said, we've already touched on pay-per-click, we've already touched on SEO. Does anybody have any overarching questions on these two topics that we need to touch on? I guess one of the things that we haven't spent a whole lot of time on thus far is actually how you actually do search engine optimization. Search engine optimization is something that's incredibly tricky, okay, guys? We work on it very diligently, and we have an entire team that does it here at the Dwyer Group level and works on national SEO campaigns. But doing SEO at the local level can be very, very important to your Google rankings and to your organic search results but it is not something that we recommend that you do on your own, because there are a lot of rules from search engines, Google specifically, that dictate how you actually can optimize your site. So please keep that in mind and understand that the rules and stipulations that vendors and we put forth are actually there to try to help you in the long run and not hurt you. We really want to focus on not doing keyword stuffing or not doing excessive linkage of other sites. There's a lot of rules and stipulations surrounding it. So just, again, please keep that in mind. Okay, Stephen has asked, do we have preferred vendors to recommend? I actually do, Steve, and that'll be something that I'll be going over in just a few minutes. And so we will get there. Real quick, another thing that I wanted to touch on, guys, is going to be social media. We have done an entire webinar on social media and best uses that you've typically seen here within Rainbows. Another thing that I want to recommend you guys to think about is, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to our local marketing team. We have a public relations and social media manager specifically for Rainbow. Her name is Kimberly Denman. She was not able to be with us today, but if you need her contact information, we are happy to give it to you, and she will be incredibly happy to help walk you through the steps of social media. The reason why we talk about social media in terms of as it relates to digital marketing is, if done correctly, social media can be a great benefit to your organic rankings and to your pay-per-click campaigns, specifically to your search engine optimization and how they all tie in together. I could get into all of the logistics and specifics of how everything ties in together, but this is why you pay the professionals to go in and do this, because you guys, it is absolutely crazy some of the algorithms and analytics that have to go into making everything work together. But just understand that if you have an active social media account, not only can you reach a new audience, which is a form of digital marketing, as we talked about earlier, it also can help with your organic search rankings and with your pay-per-click campaigns. So just think about that. Keep that in mind. I would strongly encourage you to go back and visit our social media webinar that we did back in April, I believe it was. And also reach out to Kimberly Denman, and I'll have her contact information at the end of this webinar, and she will be happy to assist you in getting you set up if you haven't already done so, or helping you link your social media outlets to your website. So now, here's what everybody's really interested in and wanting to kind of know what's happening, what's to come. There's a few different things that are going to be coming up. As I mentioned earlier, we here at Rainbow Corporate are working very, very diligently to try to enhance our digital presence and to make it to where any dollars that you do expend on digital marketing are going to be used wisely and are going to actually have a solid return on investment. So the biggest thing, if you haven't already heard, is we will be launching a new website. This is going to be coming December 2014. So next month, guys. This website is designed for conversion. So what that means is actually taking that customer and switching it from just a visitor to an actual paying calling customer. Okay. It is optimized for actually getting returns. For getting visitors to understand the services. It's designed for SEO. It is designed for pay-per-click campaigns. There's a lot of really, really good benefits that this website is designed for. Okay, so this is what I want y'all to understand when we are moving forward and going to launch this. So this is really kind of the biggest thing that we're trying to give you guys the best tools possible to do digital marketing. Another thing that we are exploring are different avenues and different ways that we can go ahead and utilize our preferred vendors. Steve, in answer to your question, here's a list of some of the preferred vendors. You can find these vendors listed on the Pro TradeNet tab under Rick. All right. The primary ones that we are going to encourage you to utilize are going to be Reach Local, NetSearch Direct, and Yodel. Excuse me. I would recommend like I said, going onto your ProTradeNet tab on RIC for the vendor contact information, or you can also email marketing@rainbowintl.com for more answers on digital marketing. Over the coming months, you're going to see a massive increase and a push on digital marketing, because now that we are providing you with a solid web platform, we think that you will have a much easier time doing digital marketing. So I really hope that you understand that, and I hope that all of this really kind of makes sense to you. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the takeaways for digital marketing. Okay, guys? So what I want you to truly understand is that while it's not always been necessarily top of mind, and while it hasn't always been something that every rainbow across the brand has fully embraced, at the end of the day, digital marketing is good, and it really can allow you to reach a broader audience. Okay. Like I said, we are diligently working on enhancing our digital reach so that we can support you all in y'all's endeavors. Okay, real quick, we received a question from Joel, and Joel has asked, with the launch of the new website, how will this affect our local page? Okay, so Joel, that's a very good question. I'm glad that you asked this. You're going to be hearing more about this over the next month, so please don't be alarmed. But yes, we're going to be changing the corporate site. We're also going to be changing sites at the local level. So every franchise site is going to be updated and upgraded, actually. So yes, your site is going to look different and it is going to feel different, but it is all going to be for the better. If you are interested in seeing what the site will look like, go ahead and take a few minutes to check out Mr. Reuter's sites, and at both the corporate level and the franchisee sites. AirServe is another brand that has launched at the corporate level and also is launched at the franchisee level. And like I said, all of ours are going to roll out in December, and you'll be hearing more about that as time goes on. But yes, Joel, that is a very good question, and your site will be affected, but we think and we know from the launch of the other brands and also from all the research that we've done that this will be a positive overall switch. Okay. You're going to see a little bit of a delay, but like I said, you are going to see a positive change as time goes on. Okay, Renee has asked us that she's been approached by Valpak. Okay, so we're kind of changing topics here, and so Renee, I'll touch on that in just a second. But for those of you who don't know, Valpak, they do mail, online, and phone, and what do I think about that? Well, we'll just go ahead and answer it. Why not? Valpak is something that you're going to have to really determine if it's going to be beneficial for you in your market. Every market is different, and so it is going to be hard to speak to the brand as a whole. What I would do, Renee, if I were you, is I would look at your marketing budget for your shop, and I would run the offer by us, the local marketing team, and so that we can take a look at it with you and maybe decide if this is going to be something that is going to be best for you to use. So just kind of maybe just let's have a separate conversation on the Valpak thing to see if this is going to be something that would be beneficial for you. Feel free to email Michael at marketing@rainbowintl.com. And like I said, we'll be happy to kind of discuss those options. That's something that's a little bit hard to talk to in more of a generic format. Okay. Going back to digital marketing questions, Tara has asked, she basically has asked that we are new franchisees and having difficulty marketing on our Facebook page. Do we recommend boosting a post versus Facebook targeted ads, or Facebook targeted ads or boosted posts to get more likes. I guess, Tara, what we need to do is again, this is going to be something that we're going to need to have probably a separate conversation on. Here's what I would recommend though. This is, I would recommend just kind of doing, basically it's called A/B testing. So maybe take 1 week and do, and invest some funding in doing, boosted posts, and then another week in doing targeted Facebook ads. See where you get the better response. This is where looking at your analytics and understanding your analytics is really going to come into play. All right. You need to understand the audience that you're trying to target. You need to think about the audience that you're trying to target. And you also need to understand and really think about why you're trying to just increase your likes, because increasing the number of likes is a fantastic thing to do. Absolutely. But if your end goal is to just increase likes, then maybe that's not the best use of your funds. But if it's to get more targeted likes of actual potential customers, then that's a totally different conversation than just increasing your likes. So I hope that kind of makes sense. So again, maybe we should have just kind of a separate conversation that we can really kind of break down those different options. But again, what I would strongly recommend is if you're trying to approach the realm of digital marketing and you're trying to do one versus the other, I would really set forth essentially a campaign that will allow you to focus on one week or one month, and then another form the other month, and just see where the best return on your investment comes forward. Going back to some of the takeaways for digital marketing. If it is done right, you can be very, very effective at expanding your reach. You do need to understand that it can be challenging if you're not aware of the implications of your actions. So what I mean by that is there are a lot of people who will spend time and money and resources on search engine optimization, and they'll do it with a company that's not necessarily the most reliable, even though they have a really good sales pitch. And what they'll actually end up doing is actually really hurting their online presence and getting blacklisted by Google. And no one wants that, because Google basically rules the world, right? So we want to make sure that we keep Google happy. So understanding that what you do and what you do digitally will have an effect, both short-term and long-term, on your business is incredibly important. It can be either beneficial or it can be incredibly hurtful. And so if you are not aware of the implications of those actions, then that can create a big challenge. So you do need to be cautious about who you use. Find somebody who is going to be knowledgeable about your needs and service. And this is where I would strongly encourage you to come back, work with us, your local marketing team, specifically with Michael Lynn. She is our website go-to girl, and she'll really be able to help direct you in the right direction of maybe helping you choose which vendor is going to be the best. Another thing to be aware of is that for our new website, we are going to be limiting actually the access from different vendors to the website. And the main reasoning behind this is to preserve the integrity. We're not trying to be Big Brother. We're not trying to be rude. We're not trying to be frustrating. We're trying to make sure that we protect the integrity of not only your individual site, but also the franchise corporation as a whole. Okay, because all of our sites are linked. And so if something goes wrong on one site, it can adversely affect everybody else's, and that's just not fair. So again, we want to make sure that the integrity of the site is always preserved. So keep that in mind when you're working with vendors and when you're trying to move forward. Okay, let's go ahead and let's look real quick. Okay, we have a few more questions.
Katie Kutlick asks, what about event-related boosts? I'm assuming she's meaning on her social media, like Facebook page, like when there's a hard freeze. I think that is something that is recommended. So let's say there's a hard freeze and there's bursted pipes. We have bursted pipe marketing material that we can get to you to put on your Facebook and do a post every day, because that stuff is going to be Googled, especially when there's cold weather blowing in. People want to know what's going on. And so having that information on your Facebook page is helpful.
Katie, also on that point, I think that event-related advertising is going to be absolutely fantastic. We were having a meeting the other day, and the conversation came up that, this is going to be challenging to do. I'm not going to say that this is going to be the easiest thing in the world. However, trying to become essentially digital storm chasers is going to be crucial for Rainbow as we move forward. Rainbow is in the restoration business, right? And so when a storm hits, or when, for example, right now, we are in the midst of a across the country freeze. So similar to the polar vortex that affected so many at the beginning of 2014. There's an opportunity for business, you guys. And so doing targeted marketing, targeted digital marketing can be very beneficial. And this is where having that relationship with a digital vendor and understanding what is going to be happening and understand where the best use of your dollars is going to be can be incredibly beneficial, because it will allow you to go, okay, I need to do a campaign on bursting pipes right now when everything is absolutely freezing. I can't tell you that that's going to specifically work for you in your territory, but I'm trying to say knowing your area, knowing what you need to market is going to be crucial.
Kristen Henson also left a question/comment. I left online advertising of 11 years, and some of the vendors you've mentioned have very high margins. Reach Local for PPC is 50% high. Yodel has drastically changed for SEO. I sold against them and know their products inside and out. If anyone is interested, I have a company out in Arizona that is extremely effective, low margins and no contracts. Thanks for giving us that comment, Kristen, but we really are getting a little bit more strict on using our preferred vendors. The reason is when we have vendors that are outside of our preferred network, if they're doing anything on the local side, it can eventually affect the corporate side, and anything that it affects the corporate side is going to affect the rest of the franchisees in the United States. So we are getting a little bit more strict on that. If you'd like to have a conversation with me after the webinar, I'd be happy to explain those new policies that are coming up in 2015, and I'd be happy to talk with you about that.
Another thing on that point, Kristen, is just going to be we absolutely understand that there are some very, very good vendors that are out there that are not necessarily in our Pro Trade Net book, and there's not, and I know that that can be frustrating for you as a franchise owner, but here's what we want you guys to understand is that by Pro Trade Net having a contractual relationship with vendors, there is a higher level of accountability and responsibility to you guys as a franchise owners. So if something does go wrong, because we're all human, there mistakes happen, issues come up, we're able to work better to help you and protect you, and to have Pro Trade Net come in and essentially protect your resources and just put up a better fight for you. And so that's really one of the bottom lines that we need you guys to understand. We have our stipulations in place not to be big brother, not to be a pain, but to really, at the end of the day, it is to protect you and to protect the other businesses within the franchise. And so if you are interested, Kristen, what I would strongly recommend is actually getting in contact with Pro Trade Net, and then maybe encouraging your Arizona vendor to try to get on the Pro Trade Net books. That's definitely something that is always a possibility, and I would strongly encourage you to champion them. So thank you very much for that feedback. We really, really do appreciate it. Joel, you've asked, are we going to post phone numbers for point of contact? Are you talking about for Pro Trade Net, or are you talking about for us? Because here's Michael Lynn's direct phone number. It's going to be 254-537-0787. If you're looking for the contact information for the Pro Trade Net vendors, look on the Pro Trade Net tab in Rick. Okay, so Rick is our Friend Connect. If you might be a little bit confused on how to access that, talk to your franchise owner or your FC and they can help get you access. But look specifically on the Pro Trade Net tab. That typically has the most up-to-date contact information for all of our Pro Trade Net vendors, which is why I haven't posted it, because I just wanted to make sure that you know where to look. All right. Okay, guys, are there any other questions out there that we need to answer? Okay. Oh, for Rainbow. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Here you go, Joel. There you go.
You got it.
Here are our phone numbers. Okay. Awesome. All right. So guys, last real quick, couple of housekeeping things. We've mentioned a couple times for an archive of the previous webinars. Feel free to check out this website. It's rainbowintl.com/webinar. This is our existing library of archived webinars. Okay, guys, it is a hidden link. You can only get to it by typing in the URL. It is not indexed, meaning Google cannot find it. And we do that to protect ourselves and protect the proprietary information that is included on that site. So go ahead, go to that website though, and you'll get a link to the social media webinar, also the email marketing constant contact webinar, and then within 24 to 48 hours, we will hopefully have this archived webinar posted there as well. One last and final thing, guys, there's not going to be a webinar next month. I'm sorry, BDAs. I know that may be a little bit frustrating. The reason why is because of the launch of the website. We're going to be having a plethora of additional webinars that will be there to help walk you through the new site and help answer your questions on that. So we're not going to have our regularly scheduled BDA webinar on December 10th, the second Wednesday of every month, but just stay tuned, because there's going to be more training opportunities and more information being pushed out over the next month in regards to the new website launch. So just kind of hang tight. We appreciate your patience, but we are currently planning on getting back into the groove of BDA webinars come January. So again, guys, we appreciate all of your time on today's webinar. Y'all have been fantastic. I appreciate your patience with me and my adorable little voice right now. And, feel free to contact Michael if you have any questions. We are looking forward to hearing from you. And that's pretty much it. So I hope y'all have a great, great rest of your day.